Hey guys, we're gonna get started here shortly. Um,
Going on? What's going on? What is going on, people? Is everyone all right?
you got mute your other one
Yeah,
up.
I know, bro.
Yeah,
I know.
yeah. All right. Hey guys, how's everyone doing tonight? We're having a one-off special. Basically, normally we host our Stacks London Spaces every other weekend, but as you noticed, we're gonna have three in a row this month. Special thanks to Mark for joining us to talk about the Hero Wallet update. We will
Yeah, it's great to
get
be here.
that. Yeah, thanks, man. So, what have you guys been working on over at Hero?
It's probably easier to answer the question of what we haven't been working on. It's been a blur the last few weeks. But on Monday, just several days ago, we released support for ordinals in the Hero wallet, and so now you can inscribe, which is to say, create ordinals and deposit them into Hero wallet and see your collections there. And it's really just a starting point. We're using that to build a bunch more functionality around ordinals as far as sending them to other addresses, listing them on marketplaces, securing them with your ledger, et cetera. So this is sort of a first release, and we're very actively building for more.
Awesome, man. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I notice you guys have kind of been a little bit quiet, but still working, diligently. I can kind of relate to that for sure. Um, so, how much? I guess I'll let Nat take it for a second from here.
Yeah, I thought I was getting rugged there for a second, but I'm not. Yeah, so just looking at the latest updates, kind of Mark. Like I know there's been obviously the ordinal support is one of the bigger updates at the moment, or the one that's been talked about, shall I say, more. But I do know there are some major updates that have come along with this new release of the Hero wallet, such as support for native BTC. And I know one of the things you've spoken about so far is working on BNS. I know everybody in the Stacks ecosystem, is chiming in for BNS from Hero, from Xverse, and from all of the other BNS associated projects for a long time. So can you tell us maybe a little bit more about what your thinking is around BNS and what you're going to be doing to work with BNS addresses a bit better in the future?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, BNS is a big topic for us as well. It really blew up last year, I think around October, and so it's been a sort of primary use case for us. And yeah, Ordinal sort of just jumped onto the scene, but we've been working on Bitcoin, native Bitcoin support for the wallet now for several months, making sure that it works very, very well. And so this Ordinal sort of push has been sort of a good sort of coincidence, if you will, to get the Bitcoin out with Ordinal support as well. And we're hoping to combine the sort of efforts we have on the BNS side with the Bitcoin side. It's very important that folks can use BNS to send Bitcoin to each other and also to send ordinals to each other. So, BNS sort of came from the sort of Stacks land and is functional on the Stacks side. But it's really important that BNS is leveraged on the Bitcoin side as well, so that you can send Bitcoin to people using their usernames and also trade NFTs, ordinals, what have you, using BNS.
Yeah, so for somebody who let's say hasn't, for anybody that's in here who hasn't or just is experiencing Stacks for the first time, I don't think there is many people, but still, can you give us a bit of history on Hero and how Hero came about as a company and where the wallet actually began and where the thinking for Hero actually began?
Yeah, well, it's sort of a long story, so there's lots of details. But Hero has its roots almost a decade ago, working on Bitcoin-based technologies. And I joined about 5 years ago when the company was really looking at launching its own sort of, well, not its own, but it's sort of a new Stacks sort of network. There was sort of Stacks 1.0, and then Stupno was launched 2 years ago. And the idea was to create sort of an L2, if you will, for Bitcoin, because I think earlier in the sort of company's history, the sort of limitations of the L1 on Bitcoin were sort of discovered, and there was an idea of let's build on a layer two. And so that's why the Stacks network came about. It was really meant to sort of enhance the Bitcoin functionality with a sort of parallel network. And so for most of the time I worked on this, it's all about around enhancing Bitcoin with that secondary network. And so the Hero wallets, which were around for a few years, has been very Stacks focused. It was the first wallet to support Stacks. We rolled out smart contract support for it, BNS, all those things. And I think we're sort of coming full circle, if you will. Now that Stacks is an L2, if you will, is more feature complete. We want to make sure we connect the dots and link up much more closely with Bitcoin. And so you'll see that the wallet is much more Bitcoin than just Stacks. It should be primarily Bitcoin, and then Stacks should just be a sort of implementation detail, frankly. And I think we'll see that especially later this year as we have native wrapping of Bitcoin into applications via the wallet. The idea is you should come to the wallet with Bitcoin on hand to do whatever you want to do. That could be ordinals, or that could be using apps that are built and integrated with the wallet. So if you want to buy NFTs on Gamma, if you want to trade with DeFi, if you want to use social media applications with the wallet, it should all be Bitcoin in. It shouldn't be sort of go off by Stacks and then use that. And so Stacks is really just a sort of token to power the sort of smart contracting functionality that we think is very helpful for lots of use cases. But we're also building a lot of things that are just Bitcoin native, and that's going to be an increasing focus for us going forward as well.
So does this mean that we're gonna get a desktop version of Hiro with like a marketplace in it? I'm assuming, or an adapt browser? Is that what we're heading towards? Maybe.
Well, so we do have a desktop version already, which is used for storing and sending and receiving stacks, for also stacking. It's a good place to really feel secure. I mean, the extension version of the wallet is as secure as the desktop version, but people like the desktop version to sort of have more of a cold storage experience, especially with Ledger. I think going forward, we're looking to power marketplaces and other application experiences with the wallet, not necessarily sort of consume those into the wallet. We don't want to be a marketplace. I think you see sort of ordinal wallets and some other sort of offerings that are a bit sort of quasi wallet products and marketplaces at the same time. We really think we should specialize in being a wallet, so the best wallets, and power things like Gamma or OrdSwap or what have you. And so there will be some more development on the desktop side. I think if anything, we're going to go more mobile, have a mobile version of the wallet as well this year. We want to have sort of the three options available to people: the desktop, the extension, and also the mobile wallet.
So is that a quick bit of a alpha for everybody then, that we should be looking out for Hiro Mobile sometime soon?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's something that we've done quite a while now, and it's something that we're looking to debut this year. It's essential, and so I think it's important that people can take their experience as far as collecting NFTs and ordinals and have that both when they're at their desktop, but also when they're on the go.
Okay, and surrounding, let's say, the other projects, because I know Hiro Wallet also supports a lot of the other tokens from inside the Stacks ecosystem. And are we looking at having, any type of browsers in there at all? So, I know you've got kind of like the NFT gallery's been added as well. That is a new feature as well, which I've noticed. So when I said before about having like a marketplace, I don't mean necessarily like a Hiro marketplace, but I mean like a lot of wallets nowadays tend to have DApp browsers inside. So I was wondering if there was any kind of plans in the works to maybe have some where you could maybe go to a page within the desktop wallet and then be able to easily, let's say, connect within that environment to Gamma, or easily be able to connect to, like Halo or any one of the other Stacks platforms.
Yeah. I think that's important once we roll out mobile to have an in-app browser, because on mobile it's especially useful to have that take place within the application, the wallet application itself. On desktop, I'm not sure there's a lot of advantages to having sort of an in-app browser on the desktop app, because you can just sort of go to a browser and use the extension there. I do think we can provide more discoverability around applications that are built with the wallet inside the wallet. We used to have this more when it was a sort of Blockstack browser back in the day. You could sort of browse the things that were built that worked with it. And I do want to bring that back so that people who come to the wallet and don't necessarily know what they want to use it for, or they want to find out new use cases, can do so from within the wallet experience. And I think we can do that sort of gradually, sort of in a way that's sort of integrated. So you might have sort of widgets, embedded sort of experiences in the wallets that allow people to access certain functionality without having to go off to another application, whether that's trading based or whether that's browsing based, as far as various assets that exist across the ecosystem. And then one thing in particular, as far as tokens, we'll definitely have swapping inside of the wallet, and this is sort of a commonplace thing we see across other chains. The ability to take one token and swap for the other inside of the wallet, that's essential. And that'll be cross-chain as well. So you should be able to go from Bitcoin and swap into Wrap Bitcoin,
Well, what do you mean by module? Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah, so I think like a UI module, in the sense of, if you're on the wallet home screen, you could have a little section that is app specific. It could be sort of a Zest or an Alex sort of module that could give you a certain view into data that is relevant to you from that application as it relates to your wallet, and certain functionality as well. There might be options to interact with the smart contracts of those apps, triggering them from the wallet versus having to go to the apps themselves. And so these are sort of like applets, like sort of mini applications that can be embedded into the wallet that I think long term would be an important thing for us to support.
Okay, thanks. Can I ask a couple of real quick security related questions too?
Of course you can, bro. Of course you can. Anytime, bro.
Do you have any recommendations as far as using the wallet, the web wallet extension? Like, for example, is it dangerous to have, to be using, should you use a browser with just that one extension, the wallet? Could it be dangerous to be using, a lot of other extensions at the same time?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, generally speaking, it's good to keep the number of extensions that you have installed minimal, and only the ones that you trust. Generally, the risk factor, though, is between extensions and web pages that you visit. That's sort of where you have to be the most concerned. If you have a malicious extension installed, that it might mess with whatever you're doing within the context of a web page. The concern is less so between extensions, but there are always sort of risk sort of factors that you want to sort of avoid to having more extensions that might find a way to interact with the other ones. So I do think that extensions are things you want to sort of take seriously. Always install them from a very reputable source, making sure you're checking the URL before you install. Because if you install a bad one, things can get out of hand pretty easily.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Hold on, Brad. 1 second. Yeah, we're gonna go around in a bit of a circle because I know Andres has got his hands up. So Andres, do you want to go next, and then we'll come back to you again, Brad? Sorry.
Whatever you want, brother. You want me to speak now, or whatever you want?
Oh no, it's totally up to you, sir. Go on. Have you got a question to ask?
Yes, brother. God bless you. To be honest, it's an honor being here with you all, and thank you for bringing me up. I wanted to ask you, brother, about the Hero wallet. Can you tell me more about it? Sorry, I'm very shy, but it seemed very interesting, and I would really love to know. I love you all, and thank you for bringing me up.
Yeah, I'm happy to give a primer on what the Hero wallet is. I mean, you can think of it as a fully functional Bitcoin wallet that you can install inside of your web browser, and it allows you to connect with applications that are built to interact with and Stacks, which is essentially a layer on Bitcoin to extend the functionality of Bitcoin. So you can use this wallet for basic sort of Bitcoin interactions, sending, receiving, seeing your history and whatnot. And you can also do more advanced things that are related to applications and NFTs and other assets.
Wow, brother, that's amazing. But I heard about a lot of wallets, but I never heard about a wallet for Bitcoin. I know Bitcoin is not like Ethereum, but you said about wallets. Is it possible to, let's say, in the future see NFTs concerning Bitcoin on the Bitcoin blockchain? Is that possible?
Yep. Yeah, so that's happening already. So if you install the Hero wallet, you can see NFTs that have been saved to Bitcoin. They're called ordinals. And for this sort of movement of having NFTs on Bitcoin to really take off here. So it's something that's already sort of happening and it's sort of new. But you're right. Bitcoin, we traditionally don't think of it as something like you see with Ethereum as far as applications and various protocols and things like NFTs. But that's exactly what we want to power. We want to power an experience that's similar to what you see on something like Ethereum, but with Bitcoin.
Wow, that's really amazing, brother. I want to ask you, how did you guys come came up with this idea, and when did you guys started with this idea? Because like I've been like in this space like 2 years ago, and this is the first time I hear about something like that.
Yeah, well, like I was saying before, the company itself has been around for a number of years. And so this thesis that Bitcoin should be extended, it should be more powerful, it should do more things, is something the company has been now working on for many years. And it really comes from a conviction that Bitcoin is the most secure, most everlasting blockchain. It's the best foundation to build on. And so no matter what you're trying to build on Web3, on blockchain technology, it should be built on Bitcoin. And so it has taken time, I think, for people to sort of recognize that broadly, and there's still a lot of work to be done. But I think we're seeing very recently, especially with ordinals, that that thesis taken broadly is very interesting, and there's a lot of possibility there. So I think more people are starting to think about it and talk about it.
Yeah, wonderful, nice one, Mark. We just had a trolley Maxi. He's cool, man, but he's the trolley Maxi in the space, Zhao Lin, and he always does this. He comes in, he comments onto the bottom of the spaces. You know, Stacks is an Infinity scam or whatever, and then he runs away from actually taking the mic. So, you know, one day maybe he'll come up here, he'll take the mic, but you don't know. Who knows? But yeah, I mean, Stacks is.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if I was being rugged there or not. So, Brad, did you still have another
Brad,
question you wanted to ask?
We're gonna come back to Brad, but I was just gonna make it 100% clear right here, right? As Mark has said, and as you've heard us say in these spaces, plenty
Maybe I
of
am
times.
being rugged. Can anyone hear me?
He is being rugged, isn't he? Can he hear you, Mark? Maybe say something.
Yeah, I can hear him coming in and out. I think his internet might be a little bit shaky.
He's getting rugged from. He can't hear me, I don't think. Just to kind of clear up again that comment underneath again, yeah. Stacks is a layer on well, it is its own blockchain layer 1, but works to secure applications.
All right, I'm gonna jump out and come back in.
And other layers on of Bitcoin, and work with other layers of Bitcoin as well. Which before, just so we go to yourself, Brad, I just wanted to ask Mark this question, because this has been floating around quite recently as well. I've heard quite a lot in the ecosystem. But is there any plans to have Hiro working with other Bitcoin sidechains? Where you said before about being able to swap or do atomic swaps from token to token, will there be this functionality which allows stackers to, let's say, take some stacks and buy some RBTC? I know RBTC is a bad example because of SBTC, right? But I mean, using other Bitcoin layers and incorporating other Bitcoin layers, is that something that is on the future roadmap?
Yeah, I think strategically it's perfectly within our view of things. I think the question is just which ones we want to prioritize and just how to go about it. I'd also say it's not even just a matter of working across other layers on Bitcoin, but we also want to work across sort of broader sort of frontiers with folks on the Ethereum side, for example, or Solana. And there should be bridges everywhere as far as getting people to be able to move their assets back and forth. So the question is just which and when. But yes, I think it's essential, especially for the Bitcoin-centric sort of thesis here, that we don't sort of get too sort of enamored with any particular tool or way of increasing the capabilities of Bitcoin. If there's any tool out there that could do a better job than the ones we have in our arsenal, we should put them in place, and we should use them in the wallet. So a very sort of open view of those things.
Nice one. Brad, sorry, back to you again.
This one's a little bit kind of off the wall. I was in a space a couple of weeks ago or something. I think it was mostly like Bitcoin maxis, and they were talking about the seed phrase topic, and a couple of guys were claiming that it's not secure and all this kind of stuff. And I thought that was like categorically false, but I didn't want to like argue with them because I'm not an expert. And I figured, since Mark, you're an expert on this kind of stuff, do you know why somebody would say that kind of thing? And it's or can it be true in some circumstance?
Yeah, well, I guess it's an interesting debate, because I think, excuse me, on one side, I do believe that having your seed phrase stored independently is a very important power for us to be able to have. And I think that's why the Hiro wallet gives you your seed phrase and trusts you to back it up, put it in whether it's a password manager or writing it down somewhere that's secure. I think each user has to decide their level of security and where they should put that. And I think having that as a core thing that you enable people to do, I think is just that's key. Like no pun intended, but like that. Without that, I don't think we have a lot to say as far as empowering individuals. At the same time, I think the system is not perfect. I think people have concerns around, well, what if you lose your key? Forget a word, what have you? The cliche, with great power comes great responsibility, all that stuff. That's true in the sense of like we need to build around that sort of core responsibility a bunch of tools and services perhaps that help people secure the keys. And so I don't expect long term that everyone would have to use the same sort of raw, just here's the key, go do what you can with it sort of experience. I think as a wallet provider, we should layer in other options for how you want to back up your key. And as an industry, we have to sort of build those. It's not just the wallet that I think can kind of build those technologies, but we should sort of link up with other providers to sort of mitigate the sort of downsides of having that sort of that responsibility. But I think the core security of having that value, I mean, as long as you do persist that value, if you keep it safe, it's a very important and valuable thing, and I think it is very secure in its own right.
Nice one, wicked. Andres, did you have another question? Sorry.
Yes, brother. Yes, I wanted to ask you, do you know of any project on the Bitcoin that is like very, very like known right now, or like people are buying into it?
Well, there are projects on Bitcoin itself. I think if you just look at the ordinals movement and various applications that are built to support ordinals, that's something that's very Bitcoin sort of pure, that has popularity. And then on the stack side as well, we have applications that have popularity as far as Gamma, Alex, BNS itself as a sort of decentralized domain system has a lot of popularity. So we are seeing, I think, communities crop up both on the L1 and the L2 side that have some early traction and are bases.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I know for sure that with the great community and with the great love that you guys are sharing and the strong community, you guys are gonna get there for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Rhythms up here as well, man. I know you came up here, you hopped up here a bit earlier than everybody, but you haven't put your hand up yet, bro. So let's get round to you. Do you have a question for Mark?
Nah, I'm good, thanks.
Okay, cool. Right. So, Mark, is there anything? Can we know anything about any dates? Do we have any dates for anything in particular right about now, or is that something that you're keeping on the hush for now?
No, I mean we're very open about our plans as far as what we're trying to build towards and when we think it'll be ready. I think the most immediate thing we're trying to do is build out some more ordinals functionality that's really going to enable ordinals users. Top of the list is the ability to send your ordinals elsewhere, and then also we have some APIs, some functionality for apps that'll make the inscription process, whether using the ordinals bot or Gamma, a lot more seamless. There'll be less manual going back and forth with the wallet, and also marketplaces. There are certain key Bitcoin technologies that we have to support as far as partially signing transactions, providing apps with the permission to request access to your addresses and your wallet, etc. That will enable marketplaces to come about for ordinals, and so you could use the wallet to trade your ordinals. I think as far as BNS, now that we have Bitcoin out the door, the ability to send Bitcoin to BNS names is a really top thing for us as well. So we're looking. Everything I'm saying here is really the issue. It's like we're really sprinting to get this stuff out, and we're also working on other enhancements around BNS. There's something called BNSX that we've been looking at the last couple of weeks to allow for having more than one username per account or per address in the wallet. And so there are enhancements around BNS that we want to roll out very soon. And again, this is over the next week or two is our intent. And then from there, I think we're going to keep releasing on the ordinals front, the BNS front. I think sort of iteratively. At the same time, we're looking to over the next couple of quarters as SBTC, wrapped Bitcoin on stacks, is developed on the protocol side, on the actual blockchain side. We want to support that in the wallet itself. So if you come to the wallet, install it, you have no stacks or Bitcoin in there, you can put Bitcoin in and it'll automatically wrap onto stacks for usage in applications. And so that whole experience to do that very seamlessly is going to be something that we look to roll out probably for testing sometime in Q2 and then Q3 be ready for mainnet. There's a lot more. We want ledger support to be fully expanded for Bitcoin ordinals. There's the mobile app that we mentioned before that I would expect maybe in Q3 this year. And so yeah, there's lots of work to do, and we're moving as fast as we can.
Great, wonderful. That's crazy. It just sounds so crazy that everything's just going so fast right about now. For those of you, sorry, before we go to, I think just before yourself, Resh, I know you got your hand up. We're going to go to Dan because I know Dan came up just before you came up. But what I was going to say for the people in the space that are new to Stacks or new to the idea of BNS or what we call Bitcoin domain names, where you see everybody in here with these .btcs, they are BNS domain names. And you can purchase them from BTC. It's BTC.us, isn't it? I'm sure.
Yep.
Yeah, right. So, so if you can go over there, you can read a little bit more about what BNS is. BNS has a long history in the Bitcoin space. It's been around for many, many years, long before the ordinals and everything else here. So it's definitely something very interesting. It's something that in Stacks they've been working with for a long, long, long time to come to fruition. We have seen that there is a spam account that is throwing up, buying BNS ordinals, but there is no BNS ordinals, so there's no official BNS ordinals. So we advise to stay away from that project if you come across it. The official project is BTC.us, so that is the place to find it. Dan, I think he dropped down now. So let's go to Resh next.
Mark, this is a very elementary question, perhaps, but I would really like to understand. I read a tweet recently with the upgrade of the Nakamoto consensus right now. Why is it now being said that Stacks will truly be a Bitcoin L2? Well, previously there were a lot of questions like, is it or is it not? Could you share more about that?
Yeah, I think there's a lot in there because it's a big release that posed. But two main things. Part of this upgrade is meant to bring the security budget of Stacks more in line, like closer to 100%, or I think it might actually even be 100% of the same as Bitcoin. And so the whole idea here is the whole idea is that we want to build on Bitcoin because it is the securest foundation. It's really important that Stacks approximates or equals that same secure foundation. Otherwise, it'll be sort of a weak link in the system. And it currently has a lot of the guarantees of Bitcoin, and so it's very secure. But Nakamoto brings that up another notch and gets it more on parity. So that's partly why people say it's okay now for real. And I'd say secondly, because of the native wrapping of Bitcoin that is part of this release, currently there's no way to take Bitcoin and trustlessly wrap it onto Stacks. And so Stacks can do lots of really interesting things as far as reading state. So if you have contracts on Stacks, you can read state on Bitcoin as a native sort of capability. But today we don't have any sort of trustless way to use your Bitcoin on Stacks. And so we're all sort of aware of that as being a key thing that we have to take advantage of if we're going to say this is a proper Bitcoin layer. I mean, if you can't deploy Bitcoin onto it and do things with it, then it falls short. So with this in place, the ability to get Bitcoin onto Stacks in a truly trustless manner, secured with that higher security bar, use your Bitcoin on Stacks for whatever you want, and then cash back out onto Bitcoin. We all feel like we can really call it an L2 for Bitcoin with a lot of confidence. And there'll be less doubt that it's sort of its own chain that doesn't have the same sort of properties.
Did that answer your query there, Resh? Or did you have another one to throw up?
No, just want to check. I mean, I had a follow-up question, but Andres had his hand up, so I thought of allowing him to go first. But Mark, when you say security budget, does it also follow the every 4-year cycle in that instance then? Stacks will follow in linear terms the security budget in terms of it gets just as expensive to mine Stacks then, meaning from a pure monetary as an investment perspective, it makes sense just to, I mean, we're not supposed to say this is not a financial advice, but just like Bitcoin becomes more expensive as every 4 years, so it becomes valuable to hold it. Does that same logic apply to Stacks then? Because it gets more costly to secure Stacks then, if that makes any sense, what I just asked?
Well, I think if you're asking, does the Stacks network sort of increase in value if it has more security? I think inherently it does. if we're talking about the sort of Bitcoin halving phenomenon, that's not necessarily something that happens on the stack side. That's not really something that's coming into play here with Nakamoto. So I would say that's as relevant. But yes, generally speaking, stacks should be viewed as falling in line with the same level of security that Bitcoin can provide today once this new release rolls out.
Okay, got you. Thank you.
Andreas?
Yes, hello, brother. I wanted to ask you, my dear friend. To be honest, I live in Lebanon, and it's like a very poor place. And I was looking for a job, and I wish if you guys can like accept me in any type of job, a Discord mode or anything. I would love to promote you guys and like help you with anything, and be your like your brother. And thank you.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, I'll go first, Mark there. But Andrews, first thing I'd say is join the Stacks Discord. So just if you on Twitter now, you just go, to @Stacks or stacks.co, and just join the Stacks Discord, the main Discord. From there, you'll find all of the other Stacks communities like ourselves. We're Stacks London. We're based out in London. There's also a lot of jobs, so it depends what kind of job you really want or what skills that you have. Then there are jobs also within the Stacks ecosystem, so you can find jobs on the actual Stacks site, and both also on the Hiro site. They are looking for people as well. Mark, if you want to follow up on that one as well.
Brother, any type of job, because like to be honest, I also have like a sick father, and like each month he needs medications that cost $200, and there is no work here, so it's been like very tough for me, I've been sad for him. Yeah, so sorry, brother.
Yeah, I was just going to echo the same sentiment. I think the Stacks community in general has a lot of opportunities right now, and so I would recommend joining the Stacks Discord and taking a look at the various projects, because there are all sorts of positions and roles that could be available.
Thank you, my dear friend. Thank you, brother.
Along with that, Mark, probably it might be good to ask as well. All of the upgrades that is coming along with Hiro, right? Are there going to be a few bug bounties going on that kind of the developers in the room can seek out with what the upgrades they have in?
Yeah, that's a really good question. We have a HackerOne account where folks can submit bugs for the wallets at any time. So if somebody wants to try to the product and report whether it's a mild or more severe bug, they can go to us and we will pay out bounties based on the severity. And we have been discussing recently that as we ramp up for bigger releases around Nakamoto and SBTC, that we might run some more specific campaigns where we would ask people to look at particular parts of the new features and try to break it. So on the wallet side, yeah, it's something that we're thinking about, and I imagine other members of the community as well, as we all build towards this big protocol level release, might have other programs that will be related to that.
Going along with that theme as well there, Mark, I noticed that on the new Hiro site as well, there seems to be quite a lot more videos that you guys are uploading as well. So I see that they're kind of centered around explaining more about what developers can do with the actual Hiro wallet. So would that be continuing? Will you be expanding like a kind of education program for being able to develop with Hiro? Because I know one side people are learning Clarity, and then the other side people are learning like Stacks Core. So will there be kind of any effort from Hiro to kind of help new developers to learn more about developing, for the Hiro wallet or with the Hiro wallet?
Yeah, most definitely. I think we're interested in providing more and also more updated information for both developers and for users as far as how to either integrate with the wallet or to use the wallet. I think it's something, like you're saying, we're starting to do more about, but there's a lot more we can provide as far as just like a knowledge base of topics around what you can build with the wallet if you're a developer, the sorts of APIs we provide as a wallet provider, and experiences that we could power. And then for just end users, how to use the wallet as far as the basics, but also more advanced things that you can do with it. And also showcasing the various applications that you might want to go try and take advantage of. So I think half the battle here on both fronts is education. I mean, at Hiro, we pump out a lot of functionality, and I think we have to complement that increasingly with educational materials so people can really understand it and take advantage of it.
Okay, great. Right, so there's been quite a few people come up on questions. If there's anybody else in the room that would like to come up and ask questions as we let's say the last 10, 15 minutes, just put your hand up or request the mic, and just ask away. I mean, we're pretty open in these spaces that we run at Stacks London, and we allow everybody to speak. It doesn't matter what side of the blockchain or Web3 that you're from. If you do have a question surrounding Stacks, surrounding TC functionality, or anything to do with Hiro, just request the mic and you can jump up at any time. Oh, here we go. Got one person here. Vlad, how is it going, my man? Connecting. How's it going, my man, Vlad? How's it going?
Yeah, it's all good, Nat. Thanks for letting me speak, and really interesting to hear all the stuff that's going on in the space. Thanks, Mark. I had a question about the ordinals on the Hero wallet. Will you be able to trade them with other Hero wallet users? Is that a functionality that will exist?
Yeah, for certain. This is one of our top priorities now, because having the ability to hold ordinals is a first step. But of course, people want to be able to trade these, and so not just the ability to send them to people for sort of over-the-counter trades, but also the ability to connect to marketplaces, both as a buyer or seller, and place bids, auction, etc. And doing that both on Bitcoin as an L1, but also on Stacks as an L2. We want to support both of those experiences for folks, because they both have their own sort of needs, and I think we're going to see sort of a two-layered sort of marketplace experience sort of emerge. So that's something that I think over the next couple of weeks we should also be seeing supported by the wallets, and we're going to see marketplaces put that into play.
Great question as well, Vlad. Did you want to follow up with that one there, or?
Oh no, that was a really good answer and answered my question. So thanks.
Yeah, wonderful. So, for me personally, it's just good to see all of this great innovation just happening in such a short space of time. Being in the ecosystem for some time, like kind of being reintroduced to Stacks in 2020, learning about Blockstack a bit earlier on in 2017. Then it's been a bit of a whirlwind experience just being in the community for, like, let's say, the last 2 years or so. So yeah, it's just great to see all the innovation going on. Rhythms, go ahead.
Yeah, been wanting to ask, like, I've been trying to list my NFT collections on Gamma, and it's always been telling me that I can't upload images to IFPS. Like, it's been happening for like 2 weeks now. That's why I've delayed my NFT drop. Or I don't know if there's any issue with the network, or if any other person is facing the same thing.
Yeah, well, as far as maybe issues uploading images on Gamma, their team is very responsive, so I might suggest reach out to them and report the details. There might be things the wallet can help there, but if it's sort of specific to their uploader experience, then it might be something that they can help better.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
Resh, go ahead, sir.
Mark, another elementary question. With subnet coming on, what's the true transaction per second that's estimated? I've heard a lot of numbers, and I just want to get a better understanding in terms of the speeds, primarily because I think we can get more DeFi projects on if the speed goes into a second or less than that. But my understanding here is elementary, so love to hear your understanding here.
Yeah, also a very good question. I wish I had a sort of good, just simple answer for that. I think what we're seeing with subnets is that we're entering into a test net, I should say, sort of period. Over the coming weeks, you'll be able to use the wallet with some testnet-based experiences to try them out. And then mainnet is going to be rolled out later this year. And my general sense is that we want to get it down to a matter of several seconds in general for subnets. But it's also dependent on the sort of characteristics of a particular subnet and how it's designed and how it's operated. So short answer is that hopefully a few seconds maximum is the sort of goal. Just where we land there is a bit of a question for us to all sort of answer over the next few months as we try this out. And I'll just point out as well that subnets is one part of the equation for speed here. But another one is, again, Nakamoto, which there are improvements as part of that proposal to also increase the effective speed of stacks without having to use subnets. And so with that as well, I hope it's a matter of seconds that we can get to. But that development is still also sort of in progress and at a state where I've yet to really go into just what kind of performance we can expect. But that's my hope for stacks-based performance enhancements as well.
So what would in regards to security then, how much of security will you have to forego for speed in terms of, if I were to ask in terms of percentage, are we talking about you'll get 15% of security off if you want speed, or security is not going to be an issue here? I think security, you'll have to forego some form of security, I guess.
Well, yeah, I guess again, it depends on whether we're talking about subnets or we're talking about the improvements on stacks.
No, subnet, sorry.
Yeah. I'm not sure there's a sort of a percentage number I could throw out there. Subnets, I think it would be proper to call them federated systems, which are different than running directly on a blockchain. So the idea, of course, is that subnets should be sufficiently secure enough for the use cases in which people use them. But I couldn't tell you whether you could sort of view them as 30% less secure or 10. There might be other folks on this call that could sort of put a number on it better for a particular reason.
Brad?
Oh yeah, about the subnet speed. So I was just remembering a tweet that Ken sent out, and he was talking about the microblocks are kind of being referred to as fast blocks now. Is that correct, Mark? There's a different connotation, and he said that, I asked him specifically what the speed of the fast blocks is going to be, and he said on the order of like 5 seconds, which, I mean, that's not even a subnet. That's just basically microblocks that I guess are going to be more final now. Is that correct?
Yeah. So
yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, yeah, I think when you see fast blocks in the latest white papers, that is microblocks, is my understanding. Just what word we're long term, we got to figure that out, I think. But that's also my impression, is that if we're talking about microblocks or fast blocks with Nakamoto, that they should be a matter of seconds in general, and they should approximate the finality of being included in an anchor block much more closely. And I think the question is just how much do we approximate? It's something that I want to have more discussions with the protocol designers to see it. Are we taking a big leap where it's very negligible, the difference between being in a microblock or an anchor block, or whether it's still a gap that we have to sort of design around to give certain assurances and say, well, it is very final, but it's not as final, and you should be aware of that for some reason. So my hope, of course, is that it's something very, very close to being the same as being in an anchor block. But I think it's a little bit too early for us to come up with a lot of sort of confidence.
Yeah, that would be pretty awesome if it's true. I mean, if it works out to be that way, that they're sort of considered more permanent, like the miners are kind of have their feet held to the fire as far as making sure that they get in, like more assurances that they get in the block, right?
Yeah, totally. I mean, the dream here is that from a wall provider point of view, I would love to have the sort of confidence that inclusion in a microblock was, for most use cases or virtually all use cases, essentially as good as being in an anchor block. If we can get there, then that's going to simplify the experience a lot, and it's going to speed up the vast majority of transactions. But I do want to make sure that we have that confidence before we sort of represent that in the wallet. Because if we don't have that level of confidence, we still do need to distinguish between the two states and give people a sort of consistent experience around that.
Mark, just a follow-up question. If we microblocks down to the speed of 5 seconds, then why is the need for subnets then? Because I tend to think microblocks more of a decentralized. When I think of subnets, like you said, it's more federated. Why is there a push towards subnets then, if there's work being done on the microblock side?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think maybe there's sort of 3 parts to the answer there. One, because I think we're talking about sort of current network conditions. And so if traffic on stacks were to increase to a certain level, that there was a level of congestion where not all transactions could get into the sort of microblock state that fast, then subnets still need to sort of backfill that sort of demand and provide those speed guarantees. Two, I'd say, because we're having this discussion around the finality of microblocks versus anchor blocks, if there's still a gap between microblocks and anchor blocks that's significant, subnets might be able to help with that as well. And so you might get more finality by going the subnet route. And I'd say third, which I actually think might be the most interesting part of this, is that I view subnets, yes, as bringing speed, but in some ways I actually view them as possibly bringing other benefits, not just speed, but functionality. You could have subnets that provide certain privacy guarantees or sort of compatibility guarantees with other sort of smart contracting languages like EVM compatibility. And so I'm hearing people talk about leveraging subnets, not just so we can speed up transactions, because L1, to use our terminology correctly here, Stacks is sort of the L1 to a subnet, whereas it's sort of L2 to Bitcoin. If we can speed things up there, then you might see sort of more functional sort of use cases for subnets where people might move their assets there to have more privacy as far as when they're transacting, or to use applications that are EVM compatible. And so it might unlock things and innovations that aren't yet present in Stacks.
Nice. There is so much to unpack. Mark, listen, as we wrap up here, I'd just like to say thank you for coming out and doing this space with us and answering all of the questions from the people that have come up and from ourselves tonight on all of the wonderful wallet upgrades that are going on with Hiro Wallet and the other things that we're able to hear about, the behind the scenes, let's say, of what you guys are working on the blockchain itself for Stacks. I think we've got one more question down there as well. So what I'm going to do is I'll run to the next question, and then Mark, if you want to give a little bit of an outro about the dates and just a quick recap on the dates that you've got coming for these upgrades, and then we'll lead out. Doc, you can lead us out. So Abraham, you're down there with a question.
Not really, but I wanted to ask a question, but I think I want to ask more. Thanks for giving me the mic.
No worries, bro. No worries. So, Mark, do you want to quickly recap over the dates and some of the releases that you've got coming for Hiro Wallet and what is next?
Yeah, I guess I'll just close by saying, if you haven't tried the latest version with both ordinals and Bitcoin functionality, please try it out. Inscribe a few things, deposit some Bitcoins on your round, send us your feedback. We're constantly looking to improve the user experience, and there's a bunch more things that we can be doing to build on that foundation. And hearing from you all will certainly change our priority list and help to inform that. So you can reach out to me, you can reach out to us on our new Discord server. And as far as things we're releasing, yeah, it's like I was mentioning before, in the coming days, the ability to send ordinals, the ability to connect to applications like marketplaces or inscription services, and more seamlessly use the wallet to inscribe and to trade your ordinals. And we're also going to roll out this sort of social profile experience as well. So you could share your collections via a link with your friends or with your Twitter followers, and we'll create sort of a more sort of social experience around that. So yeah, over the coming days, we'll be rolling that out. So the same thing goes with that. Try it out and send us your feedback. We love it.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Mark, for joining us this week. We definitely appreciate hearing from you guys over at Hiro. Lots of exciting things coming for the community. I'm excited to kind of see how the two domain names or multiple domain names per wallet works out. So hopefully we can see that here soon. And for the rest of you guys, thank you guys for joining us. Thanks to our speakers who came up with questions for Mark. Hold on, we got one more requested, and we will wrap up. Go ahead, Roger. Go ahead, Roger. Feel free to ask your question.
Yeah, so I bought crypto with my last remaining money. We have like 2 mortgages out. My wife was just screaming to me, and I lost it all. I lost it all. My wife wants a divorce. Can someone please help me?
This isn't financial advice. I can't give financial advice, but Jesus, I don't know what that was about. He really lost all of his money. If he really lost all of his money, I'm sorry to hear that.
This is what happens when parents leave their kids unsupervised on their iPads.
You're right on, Vlad. Spot on. So with that being said, don't lose your ass. We will see you guys next week, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 10 p.m. UTC. And for those projects out there who, want to get in the spotlight, have something to share, feel free, reach out to me, Atlas. We can set something up for another special space for you guys as well. Thank you all for the love. Thank you all for showing up, the support. And we will see you guys next time.
Thanks so much.
Thanks so much. Thanks. It's a lot.
Yeah. Thank you guys. Someone should ask Atlas about the rendered version of this.